Welcome to our channel dedicated to relationships. Here, we delve into the everyday challenges people encounter in their lives. Let's dive into the story shared in the video. I'm a 26-year-old man, residing independently in a modest apartment. I lead a tranquil existence, boasting a stable job and a cozy yet frigid abode. The reason behind my solitary sojourn in this chilly dwelling stems from a recent rift in familial ties precipitated by an event and a consequential decision I made, driven by a moral compass. The saga unfolds 3 years ago when my brother embarked upon what he deemed a true love story with our first cousin. Their clandestine rendezvous and burgeoning affection were divulged to me with an air of nonchalance, as if it were the epitome of normalcy. Despite my unwavering disapproval, particularly as their relationship escalated in seriousness and emotional intensity, my concerns fell on deaf ears. Within a few short months, they resolved to formalize their union, blindsiding the entire family with the rapidity of their decision. No one thought to caution them about the potential repercussions or engage in a candid conversation about the societal and genetic implications of their relationship. It seemed as though the tacit consensus was that they were adults, accountable for their own choices despite the taboo nature of their coupling within our community. Despite feeling like the lone dissenting voice, I dared to articulate my reservations to my brother, only to be met with dismissal. The wedding proceeded, a joyous affair by all outward appearances, yet I couldn't shake the discomfort I felt at the union of siblings by blood. Still, I endeavored to mask my misgivings, rationalizing that as long as no harm befell anyone, I had no grounds for interference. I presumed they were cognizant of the potential risks to their future offspring's health and would undertake necessary precautions. With this trust in mind, I extended congratulations, bestowed gifts, and treated them as I would any other couple. Over time, I even found myself warming to the sight of my brother reveling in his newfound familial bliss during our gatherings. Frequent family gatherings were a common occurrence, punctuating the passing of several years. Amidst this familial rhythm, news of my cousin's pregnancy with my brother's child heralded a tumultuous cascade of red flags in my mind. Yet, I clung to the hopeful assumption that they had taken meticulous precautions to safeguard their offspring from any potential harm. They assured me that they had conducted genetic screenings, and my cousin had undergone necessary medical interventions to mitigate any risks should they arise. However, my apprehensions were gradually validated as distressing reports emerged of my cousin's frequent hospitalizations due to complications with the unborn child. It became apparent that the baby would be born with multiple organ malfunctions, necessitating a lifetime of medical care and financial strain for the modest middle-class family comprising my brother, his cousin, and the ailing newborn. When the momentous day arrived and my cousin gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, I was immediately enraptured by her presence. Despite her daunting health prognosis, I vowed to ensure that she would be surrounded by boundless love for as long as I lived. It was on this very day that my brother approached me, extending the unexpected offer of becoming the godfather to his child. However, I was caught off guard by his proposition, expressing my genuine concerns about my ability to assume such a responsibility, particularly in the event of tragedy befalling her parents. I conveyed my reluctance, citing my unpreparedness to shoulder the physical, mental, and emotional demands of caring for a child, especially one with complex needs beyond those of a typical child. My brother's response was not one of understanding but rather accusation. He accused me of lacking love for his daughter, dredging up past grievances and insinuating ulterior motives stemming from unresolved childhood jealousy. Disregarding my earnest explanations, he launched into a tirade, inflicting emotional wounds without regard for the depth of my affection for my niece, nor the rationale behind my decision. The narrative was twisted, casting me as an antagonist in a situation where my primary concern was the well-being of the child and my own capacity to provide the necessary care and support. The aftermath of my brother twisting the narrative and portraying me as the antagonist to our family has been an arduous journey. Since then, I found myself completely excluded from family gatherings. There are no more invitations, no more sense of belonging. Even when I manage to attend events back home during holidays or on rare occasions I'm invited somewhere, I'm treated like an outsider, relegated to the sidelines while everyone else revels in the warmth of familial bonds, unaware of the sting of exclusion gnawing away at me. Nobody took the time to listen to my perspective. They all simply accepted my brother's version of events and branded me as the villain. Gradually, I reached a point where I couldn't bear the pain of being ostracized any longer. I made the difficult decision to withdraw from family gatherings altogether, choosing to suppress the part of me that yearned for connection with my relatives. You're not the jerk here. It takes courage to recognize when you're not equipped to take on a responsibility that exceeds your capabilities. Your family's refusal to empathize with your perspective speaks volumes about their character. I bet if they were in your shoes, they would have made the same choice, albeit for different reasons. It's always the most judgmental people who feel entitled to cast stones, even when the situation has no bearing on them. Your brother's behavior is incredibly immature. If you were truly envious and spiteful, you would have taken pleasure in his misfortune after the marriage. Kudos to you for standing firm in your decision and not succumbing to pressure. I would have done the same in your shoes. As for the individual claiming you're the jerk, they fail to understand the depth of love and responsibility that comes with being a godparent. Your commitment to your best friend's child, despite their Down syndrome and the loss of their mother, speaks volumes about your character. Your opinions are valid, especially considering your reservations about the marriage from the beginning. It's unfortunate that the child's sickness stems from their parents' emotional blindness, but that doesn't make you the jerk for refusing to take on a role you're not equipped for. While I acknowledge the possibility that your brother may be grappling with feelings of guilt, which could be influencing his behavior, I respectfully disagree with the comparison drawn between your situation and that of the original poster. The complexities of your circumstances and theirs are vastly different. We lack comprehensive information about the severity of the child's illness and the extent to which it's feasible to provide medical care. Moreover, it's evident that your brother is not in a financial or material position to adequately support the child's needs. The heart of the matter isn't about whether your brother loves the child or not. Rather, it's about ensuring the child receives the best possible quality of life given the circumstances. While I understand the sentiment about feeling entitled and the weight of your brother's guilt, it's not the rest of the family's place to vilify him for exercising his autonomy and choosing not to undertake such significant responsibilities. Now, let's delve into the next story, a heart-wrenching account from a 36-year-old woman who tragically lost her 3-year-old son to a chronic illness. Throughout her son's illness, she received immense support from her family, especially during times when her ex-husband was preoccupied with work. However, when her brother and his wife experienced a miscarriage and subsequently faced financial difficulties, she generously lent them her son's nursery with the understanding that it would be returned once no longer needed. However, upon requesting the nursery's return after a reasonable period, she was shocked to discover that her brother had sold every piece of it without her consent. His justification? His wife's depression and the need for funds to take her on a vacation. Enraged by this betrayal, she confronted her brother, who dismissed her concerns and urged her to empathize with his wife's grief. Refusing to relent, she stands firm in her decision to pursue legal action against them both, recognizing the significance of the nursery as a tangible connection to her late son. Despite her family's attempts to dissuade her, she remains resolute, unwilling to compromise her principles for the sake of salvaging relationships. After all, it's not merely about the nursery, it's about honoring her son's memory and seeking accountability for their actions. In reflecting on the situation you've described, it's abundantly evident that there are layers of complexity and emotion entwined within the narrative. Initially, you found yourself in a position of altruism, extending a helping hand to your brother by offering the nursery for his child. Yet, rather than receiving gratitude, you encountered blame and reproach from your ex-husband, who vehemently advocates for legal action. This discord between familial obligation and legal recourse has left you grappling with a moral quandary, exacerbated by the divergence of opinions from your parents. The notion of pursuing legal action, while seemingly justifiable to some, is met with apprehension from others, adding to the internal conflict you're experiencing. Your ex-husband's insistence on litigation, coupled with his ultimatum, intensifies the pressure you're under. His assertion that the situation is entirely your fault serves to deepen your distress as you navigate the complexities of responsibility and accountability. Furthermore, the betrayal you've endured at the hands of your parents, who callously sold mementos of your late son for their own leisure, is nothing short of egregious. Their actions signify a profound disregard for your grief and the sanctity of cherished memories, tarnishing the familial bonds that should be founded on empathy and support. In contemplating the path forward, there's a palpable sense of indignation and righteous anger permeating your words. The betrayal you've experienced, compounded by the callousness of those closest to you, fuels a desire for retribution and justice. The suggestion to feign acceptance and seek reconciliation, albeit tempting in its potential for closure, pales in comparison to the need for accountability and restitution. The audacity and selfishness displayed by your parents, coupled with the dismissiveness of your brother, warrant swift and decisive action. The suggestion to pursue legal recourse, seeking restitution for both the financial loss and emotional distress incurred, is not only justified but imperative in restoring a semblance of justice and integrity to the situation. In considering the broader implications of this betrayal, there's a shared sentiment of outrage and disbelief among those offering counsel. The egregiousness of the actions taken, coupled with the lack of remorse or accountability exhibited, underscores the necessity for decisive action to be taken. Ultimately, while the path forward may be fraught with uncertainty and contention, the imperative to seek accountability and restitution remains paramount. The betrayal you've endured, at the hands of those entrusted with your trust and compassion, demands nothing less than a resolute pursuit of justice and restitution. It appears that amidst the turmoil and anguish, there's a multifaceted narrative unfolding, weaving together threads of grief, misunderstanding, and conflicting emotions. The conjecture regarding your intentions in lending the nursery to your brother adds a layer of complexity to the situation, suggesting a divergence in perception and interpretation. While some view your actions as altruistic, others perceive them as ambiguous, leading to discord and resentment. The accusation of seeking sympathy and making the situation about oneself introduces an element of skepticism, highlighting the interpersonal dynamics at play. The skepticism regarding the viability of legal recourse underscores the uncertainty and complexity surrounding the issue, reflecting the divergent perspectives and motivations of those involved. The suggestion to seek reconciliation and restitution, albeit pragmatic, underscores the inherent complexities and emotional toll of familial strife. The nuanced interplay of emotions, exacerbated by past grievances and perceived injustices, complicates the path towards resolution, fostering a sense of ambivalence and uncertainty. In juxtaposing the personal narrative with the broader societal context, there emerges a poignant reflection on the nature of human relationships and the intricacies of grief and forgiveness. The convergence of individual experiences and collective perceptions underscores the inherent subjectivity of human interaction, offering insight into the complexities of empathy and understanding. Ultimately, amidst the turmoil and discord, there remains a glimmer of hope for reconciliation and healing, albeit tempered by the realities of human frailty and fallibility. The journey towards resolution may be fraught with obstacles and setbacks, but it is through empathy and compassion that the seeds of reconciliation are sown, fostering a sense of understanding and unity amidst the discord. In assessing the circumstances surrounding your wife's deliberation on financially assisting her mother-in-law amidst her purported hospitalization, it becomes apparent that the situation is fraught with complexity and emotional weight. The consideration of extending monetary support, given your stable financial standing, initially appears to be a straightforward act of familial assistance. However, the specter of past deception and manipulation casts a shadow of doubt, prompting a reevaluation of the situation and its underlying motivations. Your intervention, while rooted in a desire to protect your wife from potential exploitation, inadvertently triggers a profound emotional response, plunging her into a vortex of despair and disillusionment. The history of feigned medical emergencies and financial manipulation perpetrated by her mother only serves to amplify the gravity of the situation, infusing it with layers of trauma and mistrust. The decision to advocate for transparency and proof in light of the suspicious timing of the alleged medical crisis underscores a desire for accountability and integrity within familial relationships. However, the unintended consequence of exacerbating your wife's emotional distress underscores the delicate balance between safeguarding her well-being and fostering reconciliation. The ensuing rift in communication and the withdrawal from contact signal the depth of your wife's emotional turmoil and the magnitude of the wounds inflicted by past betrayals. The realization that your well-intentioned intervention may have inadvertently impeded the healing process accentuates the complexity of navigating the delicate terrain of familial reconciliation and forgiveness. In navigating the aftermath of this tumultuous exchange, there emerges a shared sentiment of empathy and concern for your wife's well-being. The suggestion of direct communication with the hospital and collaborative engagement in therapy reflects a proactive approach towards seeking clarity and emotional healing, fostering a sense of solidarity and support amidst the turmoil. Ultimately, while the path towards reconciliation may be fraught with obstacles and setbacks, it is through empathy, understanding, and unwavering support that the wounds of the past can begin to heal, paving the way towards a future defined by resilience and reconciliation.